Hey divas, welcome to Pink Table Topics. How you doing? How you doing? Please put a one in the chat and let me know that you can hear me and that you don't hear any static, please. Please put a one in the chat for me. Happy Tuesday. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hey, Teresa. Teresa is here. She says she can hear me. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard and why it seems like I'm not on the panel, but I am here. My logo is not here. I thought it was because yesterday I did not add myself to the stage, but I am here today and I don't know why it's not here. I don't know why, but nonetheless. We are here. We are here. Welcome to Pink Table Topics. I am your host and good sis, Pink Diva. Thank you so much for joining me. As you're pulling your seat up to the table, don't forget to hit the like button. Feel free to drop down and leave a comment and also engage in the topic. And don't forget to turn that bell notification on so that you'll be notified each and every time I drop a new topic. And as you know, our mission over here is to create a safe space for women to gather as a community, engage in healthy dialogue regarding real life issues that we as women deal with on a daily basis. But most importantly, to foster the true meaning of sisterhood. And if you are here, that means you are subscribed and representing the Diva tribe. And not just any diva, we are divine, we are inspiring, we are valiant, and we are admirable. Welcome to the table, divas. Happy Tuesday. I feel like I was just here. I feel like I just talked to you all. We were just here yesterday. And here we are. Let us start our motivational quote for today because of in honor of Black History Month. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." Happy Black History Month. How is everybody doing? And you know, I have to be courteous when you come to my house. So let me go around the table and do my Divas roll call. Let me go see who we have in the chat. Mama Teresa is in the house. Hey, Diva. Thank you so much for joining. Hey, let's be clear. She said, "Good evening, Pink Table Topics, mods, and chats in the bushes for another 30 minutes." Okay. Thank you for joining. Please make sure you hit the like button on your way in. I know Aunt Debbie was still on her live over there, but how is everybody doing? Hey, Teresa, how you doing today, sis? Still praying for you and your family. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for being here. We are not going to be here too much longer. Everybody will just be able to come in and catch up when they get here. We have a great topic, an interesting topic, a topic that we were supposed to be talking about. Back in December around Christmas time, but so many other hot topics were popping up all over the place. The streets was hot. So I was like, let me just get in where I fit in. And we just gonna make it do what it do, right? So we're finally just hopping in and being able to just finally talk about this topic. Hey, sis, Chit Chat said, logging off of work. Be right back. That's okay, sis. Take your time. We here, girl. Thanks for joining. Teresa said, yes, they will be here shortly. Yeah, I know Aunt Debbie was doing her live. But, you know, whoever misses out at the beginning, they can always go back and catch the replay. But, you know, we just going to jump in and we're going to talk about this whole situation with the Christmas pajama situation. Let me pull this up on my screen so that I can make sure we can see it. Give me 1 second. Let me share. Let's put that on the screen. So this is what we are talking about. Hey, Cheryl, thanks for pulling up to the table, sis. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the whole Christmas pajamas debacle. Is everybody familiar with this? This was a huge deal back during the holiday season. And we're talking about step parents. I feel like this is definitely a conversation that we should be having, um, because of everything that's going on. And, it's hard being a step parent, but it's also hard being a stepchild too. So I wanted us to jump in and be able to talk about this. So, again, like I was saying, this situation happened over the Christmas holiday. This is where the mom that called out her child's stepmom and father after he wore the old pajamas for a family Christmas photo shoot. The mom said her child could have gotten a fresh pair of pajamas too, right? So the mom felt a certain kind of way because the dad and the stepmom and their biological children wore matching pajamas for the photo shoot. So the stepmom went viral because um, the stepchild, if you see on the picture, is the only one that did not have the matching pajamas on. So social media went crazy behind this whole photo and the situation with the photo shoot. So the because they felt like the stepmom was out of order, and they actually thought that the stepmom did it intentionally. So that caused a huge uproar in the social media streets. A lot of people that grew up as a stepchild had a lot to say about this situation because of their own personal experience and how horrible they felt being treated differently than their other siblings. So it's possible that a lot of what went on wasn't intentional, but for a child, you definitely pick up on every little thing when you are either the outside child or, dad moved on to a new relationship and they shared other siblings. So you really, really have to be careful. So they can feel the difference between you and the other siblings that actually live under the same roof. So if you read the article, you know that the stepmom came out saying that the child's father couldn't find any coordinating pajamas because it was super busy. It was during the holiday season. They had already gotten the pajamas, and the father at the last minute was the one that decided to get the kid at the last minute, because apparently, based off what I was reading, it wasn't their week to actually have the child. He was supposed to be with his mom, but the dad took it upon himself at the last minute to decide that he wanted to go get the kid and bring him. So the stepmom also said that she also didn't feel comfortable with the kid not having coordinating pajamas as the rest of the family because it was too late. The photo shoot had already been scheduled. The photo shoot was literally getting ready to happen that same day at the last minute when the dad walked in with the son. And she also said she had no idea that the stepchild was even going to attend the photo shoot. So the stepmom went on to say that the mother, that she was a mother, and the type of mother that she is, she would have never purposely left him out of anything. And she said she never has. And she said, as many times as the biological mother has said F her kids, because apparently it seems like there's some underlying beef between she and um, the child's biological mother. And she said, basically the other mother has come at her kids quite often, but she still never treated the son differently from her own kids. However, the mom actually took to social media as well, and she was basically calling BS with the stepmom and what the stepmom was saying. The mom said the dad and the stepmom both knew that her son was coming over, and she even mentioned, meaning that she was talking about the stepmom, even mentioned that he needed a haircut, but she never mentioned that he needed matching pajamas. The mom also made a social media post explaining that the pajamas that her son had on was actually from the previous year, and that she actually sent those pajamas for him to sleep in and not for him to take professional photos. She also mentioned that they have had plenty of other photos that did include the son. So that wasn't the problem that she had. Her problem basically was they had him visibly looking like an outcast in this photo. And the photo is on the screen. We can see they have the green matching pajamas, and he's the little boy that's sitting in the black pajamas. And she said these pajamas were basically sent for him to just sleep in. So that's where the whole issue is coming in, because the mom feels like it was purposely done. Now, as a mom myself, I would have been pissed too. If I'm sitting here looking at this family Christmas photo and you're posting it and you're all in coordinating pajamas, and then here it is seeing me like my child is actually sitting there looking like the stepchild, right? And I know if I see a difference, he sees a difference. So she also went on to say, so again, like I said, if I was the parent, I would have been pissed too, because you're not gonna have my babies out here looking any kind of way while you and yours are dressed to impress, especially on a holiday Christmas card, which is what this photo shoot was supposed to be. My anger, though, would have been directed toward the dad, because I feel like he dropped the ball. I feel like the dad dropped the ball with this one, because especially when it comes to properly communicating, per what the stepmom said, he got the child at the last minute. She didn't know that he had decided to get him at the last minute. And don't get me wrong, I'm coming for the stepmom too, because she's not off the hook here either. So just hear me out. I feel like he should have considered the fact that a photo shoot was taking place. They all had matching pajamas, and I'm sure he knew that already. And his other kid didn't. So why would you purposely go get him at the last minute, knowing that there were no, coordinating pajamas for him? Why couldn't he have waited until after the photo shoot? Now, for the stepmom, if you are knowingly dating or married to a man that you know already have kids, this is what you have to take into consideration. This man and his kids are a package deal. You are signing up for the role. If you aren't willing to take on being a good stepmom to his kids, you shouldn't get tangled up with him, and vice versa. I've been a stepmom, and I wouldn't treat a stepchild any different than I treat my own. The same rules apply. I would never want the other kid or kids to come to my house and feel they are less than and are not treated the same. You know, um, if it wasn't the kid's cycle to be at the house, being that this is the holiday, you knew eventually somewhere within the holiday season, it was holiday break, they were out of school. You knew eventually at some point it would have been his week to come over, or his day to come over, because I'm sure you had Christmas gifts for him to open as well. So why wouldn't you have already just had him some pajamas put away anyway? Like while you're shopping for the coordinating pajamas for your kids, yourself, and the dad, why would you not just grab him a pair? Excuse me, especially given how hard it is to get these coordinating pajamas during the holiday season. I know, because I've tried. Once they're gone, right? So keep in mind, again, like I said, this was the holiday season. So you knew he was coming over to open gifts. So that's when you all could have put on the matching pajamas. Like you could have had your matching pajamas, taking your photo shoot, but you still could have had him some. So when he came over and it was time for him to open his gifts, then y'all all could have had like another little off-cycle Christmas celebration, to where he's being celebrated for opening up his Christmas gifts as well. So he wouldn't be able to feel that there was a difference. Give him the same experience that his siblings had, right? So for that, I fought the stepmom, because she dropped the ball in that area. She dropped the ball. Also, I see your comments. I'm going to read some comments in a second, but I feel like that's where the stepmom dropped the ball there. The stepmom caught most of the heat, though, on social media in this situation. And a lot of folks tended to overlook the role the dad played. And this is where we tend to drop the ball a lot too, ladies. We always tend to go directly to attacking the stepmom and not holding the men accountable for the role they played in it as well. They wanted to get a dad a pass. And, I was seeing comments saying, like, well, you know how men are. Men just don't think the stepmom is the one that bought the pajamas and all of this kind of stuff. He don't get a pass in my book. All of the adults in this situation, to me, are to blame because they both played a role in it. He should have communicated properly. He knew that a photo shoot was coming up. And she, when she was purchasing the pajamas, she should have just went ahead and got the little boys some pajamas as well. This all could have been avoided. For one, I never would have brought it to social media, but I can kind of see when when the stepmom posted the pictures, I can kind of see, as a mom, and this is my kid, and my kid looking like, look, the pajamas were too short. Everybody was out of place for him. I would have been offended too. And you can't tell me that the little boy did not recognize that there was a difference. I'm quite sure him, being the age he is, asked the question, why do my pajamas look different? Excuse me. Why do I not have on the green pajamas? Why are my pajamas black? So I'm almost certain that he had those questions. So again, the stepmom and the dad both, they are fault for me. This is why, like I said, you really have to think about the kids when you're in these type of relationships. This is also why divorce is so hard, because now you have to worry about the new stepmom or stepdad being a part of the kids' lives, and will they be mistreated? It's so many scenarios that, we have to witness in the mistreatment of stepchildren. So many scenarios. So many scenarios. Let me read some comments before I keep going. Give me 1 second. Let me scroll up and see. Thank you to those of you that's coming in. I appreciate you for being here. Please make sure you hit the like button for me. Teresa said a hot mess. Yes, sis. Hey, Deborah. Deborah said good evening. Pink Table Topic is in chat. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Teresa said, I don't believe she left him out on purpose. I don't believe she left him out on purpose either, sis, because when you looked at her social media, she did have plenty of other photos with all of them in there. But I'm just, I guess we just all look at it differently and think differently about it, because I would have never just went and not gotten him some in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And it's so hard because just looking from, let's just look, trying to look from her eyes, being, a mom. This is my husband. These are our two children. This is our household. I don't know the cycle of how often they actually even get the kid. I don't know how often he's actually even there. I have no background on that. I have no idea. But you know how some women will, like, out of sight, out of mind type situation. Not saying that it's cool to do that, but when we're just looking at our household, not every woman is going to think about the outside child. They're only going to focus on what's inside of our house. They're not going to, not saying that it's right, but you're not thinking about the other children that's outside of this house, because this is, my family. These are my kids. But you also have to take into consideration this when you are dating a man or woman that are bringing in outside kids. You have to make sure that you're not only just thinking about yours, you're also thinking about the outside kids. Sis said the dad and the stepmom was wrong. Yes, they were wrong. They definitely were wrong. They definitely were. Teresa said he seemed like a misfit in this photo. He did. He did. He sure did. She said my OCD wouldn't have allowed him to have those PJs on. We would have to reschedule that. Girl, we would have rescheduled the whole photo shoot. There is no way I would have been able to. It just looks out of place. Like the optics are totally off. That would have really messed with my eyeballs. So I agree. I definitely would not have allowed the photo shoot to take place. Teresa also said, I'm a stepmom and step grandmother. Even though we don't use the word step, I am. Just as my husband is a stepfather to my boys and grandchildren. This would never happen with us. Absolutely. And people are just cut different. People just aren't the same. They just aren't the same. Sis said the stepmom automatically should have picked up the boys some pajamas when she picked up the other kids. He don't get a pass, but I agree, sis. She should have. She should have gotten some at the same time. Because, like I said, at some point, you would think he would have had to come by to open his Christmas gifts, right? So why not gift the pajamas to him, even if he wouldn't have been staying for the photo shoot? He still would have had matching pajamas. And the kids are going to put on those pajamas again at some point throughout the year. So you should have definitely gotten him some. I agree. I totally agree. Teresa said that's what I would have done. I would have just bought extras. Absolutely. You should have just bought extras. Sis said, right, Teresa, OCD would have been on 100. Absolutely. My OCD would have been on 100. Like the optics don't even look right. Like it just doesn't even look right. And then too, I felt bad for the child that had to go visit the dad's home. Then not only are you going to visit my dad, but he has a new girlfriend, new wife, or whatever. And then they also have their own children as well. The atmosphere isn't always cohesive. The vibe just isn't the same. Sometimes the step parent is mean to the children and they will show difference in the children because of their disdain for the mom or whatever the situation is. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of women out here that makes it absolutely difficult for some of the stepmoms out of jealousy, mad that the guy decided to move on, had another family with somebody else. But again, mistreating the child should never be an option. This is when you need to make a conscious decision to either stay and put your big girl panties on or walk away because you don't want to deal with the drama that comes along with it. So, it's all a conscious decision. You came into the situation knowing that other kids were involved. And if you were not planning to treat the kids the same as you treated your own, or the same if the roles were reversed, how would you want the father of, let's say you had previous children by someone else, how would you want that person's new spouse to treat your kids? So it should never be an option to mistreat the kids. So I often always just feel sorry for some children that are going into step parent situations because unfortunately they're not always nice to them. They're not always nice. Sis said, was there ever an update to the situation? Any resolve? There was no resolve. They went on with their beef. The stepmom said what she said. The mom said what she said. But I do remember one of the videos that the stepmom did. She said that she reached out to the mom off of social media because it was because of social media that the situation blew up as much as it did. So she kind of stepped off social media and they actually, I guess they had a conversation because like she said in the past, this has never happened before. She's always included the little boy. She always included it, but with the daddy sitting up there smiling, I probably would have knocked that smile off his face because I'm out here catching all this heat for you. And you did this last minute stuff. Granted, we both played a role in the miscommunication, which is what I think it was. I think it was just miscommunication because when I did go to her timeline and was able to see like pictures from the past, they did include the little boy a lot in a lot of their outings. So I don't think it was done purposely. I really don't think it was done purposely, but I think it had a lot to do with miscommunication. Teresa also said, facts. There's a lot of bitter moms out there. My husband's ex was one of them. Yeah, it's a lot of bitter moms out there, and they really do make it hard. for the relationship to be cohesive. And they make it hard for the children even when you want to do right by them. Hey, Betty said, what would the conversation be if they had taken the picture without the little boy? Same or different? I'm just saying. And that's a great point, Betty, because some of the comments were saying that. Some of the comments were saying, well, what if she had just chosen to leave the little boy out of the photo because he didn't have the matching pajamas? And that's what the mom actually said as well, the stepmom. She actually said she didn't feel right leaving him out of the photo, so she just let him get in the photo with what it was, because the photographer was already paid and had gotten there. They were literally minutes away from the photo shoot. Excuse me. So that's why they decided to just move forward with the photo shoot. And that's why she said she didn't feel right leaving him out. So she said she would have felt bad having to leave him out. So a lot of people did agree with that as well, because that question did come up. They were saying, pretty much damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if she had left him out, it would have been a problem still. The mom would have still had something to say. So yeah. Um, Teresa said, could you see AC and Martell doing this to the four nuggets? It wouldn't be Mel. It would be AC and Martell. I would swoop her at, girl, listen. And that's the thing. This is like, just look, now that you mentioned that, just look at the caliber of a quote unquote stepmom that she portrays, and just know that your babies have to go and be in an environment with a person like that, knowing they don't like the mom, because there's no way you can tell me, I dislike your mom, but I love you. Right? You know what I'm saying? There's no way you can say, oh, I love the kids. I love the kids because he loved kids. No, you do not love the kids, because if you don't love their mom and you have a hatred and a disdain for their mom, there's no way you can properly love the kids. Sis said AC has done worse. And I absolutely believe that she has done worse. She's said worse. And I would be scared to even have my kids, even in this girl's presence, giving the clear, vivid, very public, I was about to say private, very public disdain that she has shown over and over again, for their mom. There's no way you can call and tell me that this person cares for my kids when I know that she doesn't like their mom. There's no way I would be comfortable allowing her to even be in their space. It's very scary. I think about it. I'm not saying this is happening. I remember watching a Lifetime show. There was a stepmom who was actually putting poison in the food that the kids had to actually eat. And the mom didn't know why the kids were getting sick. She just knew they all were coming down, had the same symptoms, and they were getting sick. And she took them to the doctor, and come to find out, they had been being fed poison in their system. It was a situation to where it wasn't a reaction that happened like right away. It was just down the road. The more they were being fed this poison, the more these symptoms started happening, like over time. So you just gotta, it's scary. It's scary, right? Sis, very scary. Yes, Mel gotta stay prayed up. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very scary. So you have to be careful. I remember when my ex had started dating a new chick, and it was my daughter's weekend to go to his house. And the thing is, you don't have to ever ask a kid anything. They will voluntarily tell you if they feel uncomfortable in the situation, if the new person didn't make them feel welcomed or what have you. And I remember he dropped the girls back off at home. And I remember my youngest daughter, she was saying, she was like, Mom, I don't want to go back to my dad's house. And I was like, well, why don't you want to go back? Which I never forced them to go anyway. If they say they didn't want to go, they weren't going. I don't care what kind of visitation, documentation that we had. If they say they didn't want to go, they weren't going. Take me to court. That's how I felt about it. But she told me, she was like, Mom, I don't want to go back. And I was like, well, why don't you want to go back? And she was like, the girl's name was Bianca. She was like, Bianca be looking at me mean. And I was like, well, what do you mean she be looking at me mean? She was like, well, every time my daddy turned his back, she be looking at me mean. And then she'll put her fist up to me. Baby, let me tell you, I was about to drag that heifer in the grocery store. Do you hear me? Uh, oh, baby, she was about to get these hands. I play no games when it comes to mine. But I actually called him and had a conversation and was basically asking him, like, first of all, why are you leaving my babies in the house with this heifer? When it's your visitation, it's your visitation. You have them with you. When you go outside, they go outside. You go to the store, they go to the store. By no means necessary are you to be leaving mine at home with your significant other on no occasion, because I will drag that heifer where I see her at. And he knew I was not lying and would drag him too behind mine. But you just have to be careful though, because everybody don't treat these kids right. And this is the thing. And some of these men are so dumb and they so ussy whipped that they don't recognize that, this girl could be saying whatever she want to say that sounds good to you in your face, but behind your back she's actually mistreating these kids and doing little stuff. That's how petty she was. She was very petty, and you're not paying attention because you just looking at her as a glorified babysitter, because she helps me when the kids are here. I could be outside doing the yard and she could be inside cooking and cleaning and all of this kind of stuff. But at the same time, they're secretly mistreating these kids. They are secretly being mean to them, and you don't get to see it. So if the kid come to you and tell you about it, then you're going to automatically think the kid is lying. So that's the part that I dislike about it. You just really have to be careful and make sure you are vetting people when you have children. When there are children involved, you have to make sure that the people that you are bringing in your space and allowing your children to be around actually have your kids' best interest at heart, because everybody won't have your kids' best interest at heart. They'll tell you what you want them to hear. They'll tell you, the good stuff. Oh, I love your kids, and we're in this together, and I love them, love you, so I gotta love them. But they secretly behind closed doors have a hatred and a disdain for your children because they don't like the mama. So you really do have to be careful. Hey, LaDawn, how you doing, sis? Thanks for joining. How you doing? So you really just have to be careful. And I just really feel sorry when you see children that have to be forced into these step parent situations, to where even though I don't like this person, I still have to be around this person. This person is always there. Just look at the whole Martell and Mel situation when it comes to the bird. Like, he basically stuffed this lady down these kids' throat. You didn't give them enough time to even go from, okay, mom and dad are getting divorced. Your new life, the life that you once knew is changing. So you're no longer a two-parent household. Now your household is broken because now you're spending 7 days with your mom and 7 days with your dad. And because dad isn't equipped enough to handle 4 kids by himself, now I'm going to have this bird come over and play housemaid and cook and clean, but she don't even like my children. She don't like their mom. So I know she don't like their children, but you still will, for your own selfish needs, put your kids in harm's way and allow this girl to be around your children. And you didn't allow them baby steps to being around this girl. You just immediately pushed her in their face because you couldn't handle it. You were too caught up in your disdain for Mel and trying to take her to court for full custody, when 9 times out of 10 you don't even want these kids like that. You can't afford to take care of these kids. You don't even have what it takes to even be a stay-at-home dad, to actually be able to cook, clean, feed them, help them with their homework and all of this other stuff. But you want to take this mom to court who that can make ends meet for the kids, but you will have her around this bird, have the kids around this bird as a way of in your face to Mel, which I know that's what it is. It's sort of like a in your face type situation. So I'm going to let you know that this woman that you hate so much, that broke up our marriage, she's around our kids. She's around your most prized possession, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. That's what I don't like about him. That's what I don't like about that situation, because she's not even a good mom to her own kids. But you would allow her to be around your children that you share with your ex-wife. That's why he gets so much hate in these streets, because of stuff like that. Like, at some point when it comes to the kids, you got to remove your own ego. You got to remove your own selfish way of thinking, because at this point it's about the kids. It's about what's best for the kids. He never should have thought that he was good enough to take this mom to court, who was financially stable on her own, and trying to take the kids get full custody of the kids, when you know you can't take care of these kids by yourself. You knew that, but you would rather drag this woman through all of these court proceedings trying to prove that she's an unfit mom, and have them in the house with an unfit mom. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Teresa says she don't like the mom and talking about the mom in front of the 4 children. Exactly. And these kids have social media. Hey, girlfriend. Thanks for joining, sis. Sis said Martell used AC from the start with those kids to hurt Mel. It's not even about him wanting her around. Absolutely. He was using her. He was using her. And she fell for it. He was using her and she fell for it. But that's the part that I really hate when it comes to him and men like him. Not just him, but there are so many men who don't properly vet these women, and they just allow it. And I can't just say that it's just men. It's some women out there that have had their children in in situations with men that they shouldn't be around either. They have their babies around all of these different men. It's a different man every time you turn around. So it's men and women. It's not just selective to a man or a woman. You have both sexes doing the same thing. And there's no way. I mean, sometimes you just got to get self out of the way when you have kids anyway. Sometimes, you may have to wait a little longer until they get a little older before they start dating. That's how I was. I wasn't having any and everybody in and out around my kids. Especially because I had girls. I didn't allow my girls to sit on anyone's lap, especially men, not even my brother. Like, you have to really pay attention to your girls. You have to really pay attention to who they are around, and you have to really pay attention to who's in their ear, who's talking to them, and who's mistreating them. And I wasn't gonna let nobody mistreat mine. That could be mama, daddy, sister, brother, or whoever. I was coming behind mine. I was coming. So I feel bad for a child that has to go visit the dad's house with the new wife and the new girlfriend, and you just not really knowing what it's like to be there, knowing that the atmosphere isn't always cohesive. It's a lot of bitter, and I can guarantee that there has been countless amounts of arguments with Martell and Coleslaw in front of the kids. We've seen how they behave, just in these social media streets. So I can only imagine how elevated it is behind the scenes. So, and it's just not strictly with the Ariane and Martells of the world. There are just so many scenarios that happen or that could play out. So you really, really have to be careful when kids are involved. And sometimes the step parent is, like I say, sometimes the step parent is mean to the kid, and they'll purposely show difference in the children because of the disdain for the mom. So you just really, really have to be careful. You really have to be careful. You really have to be careful. So again, mistreating the kid is never an option. Kids should be off limits. Regardless of how I may feel about the mom, I would never mistreat the kid. I would literally do what Mel did. If I know that my husband is bringing an outside baby into this world, I would do exactly what she did. I would chuck up the deuces, which we know she left before, but I wouldn't stay because you're signing on for 18 years of this. If you are a person that you know that you wouldn't be able to see past the cheating husband and actually bringing in an outside child, and you couldn't properly love that kid the same way you love your own, walk away from it so that you don't have to deal with it. Don't sit there and stay in it and then be secretly feeling a way about the kid behind the scenes. Walk away from it. And if you are dealing with a man that you know has a wife and have children, walk away from the situation so that you don't have to put yourself in a situation you don't want to be in, and disliking, having a disdain for the wife and the kid and feeling a certain kind of way. Just walk away from it. Walk away from it. And I remember, I know a lot of times when it comes to the whole, when children are involved, and the whole showing difference in one kid versus the other and grandkids, a lot of times parents and grandparents do certain things out of ignorance and not really pay attention to how some of the things they may do or say can actually affect the child. And case in point, I remember when my girls were small, my brother had a son, which is 3 years younger than my youngest daughter. He was a toddler at the time. And my baby girl was around 3 at the time. Anyway, my mom had him so spoiled. He was spoiled rotten. We would go to her house and she would have all kinds of toys, clothes, whatever else he wanted, he would have. And there were times where, kids would be kids. The kids would go over and the girls would want to play with his toys. And she'll tell them, she was like, no, put those back. Those are his toys. I don't want y'all to break them or what have you. And the girls would make comments saying, Granny won't ever let us play with his toys, but she always make us let him play with our stuff. Then I remember one instance. It was Christmas. We were having Christmas dinner at my parents' house, and we were all opening our Christmas gift. My girls had already opened their toys and Christmas gifts at our house before we even got to my mom. And so it was Christmas. They were opening up their gifts. So my mom gave them clothes, basically clothes, pajamas, that kind of stuff. It was no big deal to me because, like I said, my girls had already opened their toys at home before we got there. But when she started pulling out all of the gifts and the stuff that she had gotten for my nephew, I'm talking about, yes, she gave him the same clothes, pajamas like she gave my girls, but she was pulling out like the little mini cars, the basketball goals, just all the fun stuff and all the toys that kids like. And I'm sitting here like, wait a minute now. you gave my baby you gave my babies these couple little gift boxes with the pajamas and the clothes, but you gave him that plus all of this. And I'm saying that because I know if I saw the difference, they felt the difference. And when I was looking at them while he was opening up all of this stuff, I saw the look of disappointment on their little faces, and they just couldn't understand why they didn't get what he was getting. And they didn't mention it until we got in the car and we were on our way home, and they were like, Granny got Vontae a lot of toys and we only got clothes. So I had to explain to them, like, well, y'all open y'all toys when we're home already. Remember, we're going home so y'all can play with y'all toys. But again, kids don't know the difference. All they knew is we were at Granny's house. Granny gave us pajamas, but Granny gave him pajamas and all of these toys, right? So I had to call my mama and I had to explain. I had to have a little sit down with her. And now let me just say this. She went all out because my nephew's mama was just one of those that just didn't care. And she didn't do what she was supposed to do as a mom. And basically, me and my mama took him in and we were taking care of him. So because of that, my mama was just overcompensating because she was trying to make up for what his mom wasn't doing and the fact that my brother was in the military at the time. However, that wasn't a one-off situation. She had him spoiled. Whatever he wanted, she would get, because again, she was trying to overcompensate. But I had to have a conversation with her and just let her know, look, when you have all the grandbabies around, certain stuff they shouldn't be able to witness you doing. Now, especially if you didn't buy all of them the same thing. Now, when my nephew came to my house, or any of my other nephews came to my house, what I allowed my kids to do, I allowed them to do, or vice versa. What I didn't allow them to do or have, neither one of them could have. So I told her, you could have let him open some of this stuff before we got there, or you should have just waited until after we had left, because the kids just don't understand. We may understand, and again, she was coming from a good place, and this is where I say this is where ignorance come in, because they just don't be thinking about this stuff. But you can't have one kid opening something and the others not, especially if we got to sit there and watch the other kid open this stuff in front of all the other grandbabies. But she had to really sit and look at it as the way I was explaining it, because she really just did not um she just did not see it the way that I saw it, and the way that the kids felt it. So we have to be conscious, and we have to be careful as parents and grandparents to just make sure we're careful what we allow the kids to see, because their little feelings get hurt really easily, and then they don't understand that he got all of this because he had an ain't-ish mama that wasn't doing nothing, and his dad was away in military, so we trying to make up for what we felt he was lacking by not having his parents there. But there's just a way that you do stuff, right? There's just the way that you do stuff. Teresa said my parents wouldn't let us sit on our uncle's lap. They wouldn't let us play tickle. Oh, absolutely not, because that's when they be trying to sneak a feel. You have to be careful. Betty said, if you still follow my friend Twin trend, she had a guest that divorced and found out her best friend was his mistress of 10 years. I saw that. I saw that exact article. Her best friend. And said, had the nerve to say that the best friend had the nerve to feel like, make her feel like she had done something wrong. And the best friend was the one that signed his divorce papers. I saw that. Sis said, I was just about to ask that. Teresa said, and that's the bad taste that will be left in the kid's mouth. The kids don't understand why they're only getting PJs and he's getting toys. Absolutely. You have to have that conversation. Sis said, if your mom was making up for what he may not have had at home. Yes, she was, sis. She was making up for what he didn't have at home. Although, like I said, she and I both knew and we both understood. But when you have younger kids, they don't understand. All they see is he got more than we got. They don't know that, oh, I'm only doing it because of, his mom wasn't there. His mom wasn't able to get him anything. So, the kids don't know. And that's unfortunate. And which is why you have to be careful, because kids perceive things totally different. Teresa said, I can't even begin to imagine her pain. That's terrible. Yes, it's horrible. Hey, Nashonda, thank you so much for pulling up to the table. How you doing today? Yeah, the kids don't understand. Teresa said, one year we had my stepsons for Christmas, and my husband's mother sent the two boys $50 each. She didn't send my boys anything. I sent that money to her and told her this is not how we roll. I know that's right. I know that's right. This is not how we roll. And I remember when we were growing up, we had an aunt and I had cousins that lived with my grandmother. Um, and because my aunt lived there, of course, her kids lived there. So this is where I say it's so easy for um, a parent or a grandparent to make difference, but not really pay attention to the fact that they're actually making a difference. We can see it, they can't. So I remember going to, when we would go to my granny's house, and because my cousins lived there, we would go to my granny's house and she would have like snacks or whatever the case. We would ask for, like, Granny, can I have one of those? And she was like, no, you can't do that. You can't have that. That's his. Or no, don't touch that. That's his toy or that toy. And my grandmother used to actually do that. And it wasn't until, we got of age and we would go home and we'd tell our parents, we was like, oh, we don't like to go to granny house because, every time we ask for something, she say that it's the cousin stuff, or, we couldn't have this because it was theirs. And it's so easy to be in, like, she would give us stuff. Don't get me wrong. My granny would give us stuff, but it wasn't the good stuff, if that makes sense. It wasn't the good stuff. Hey, Babette. Hey, sis. Thanks for pulling up. How you doing? So she would give us stuff but it just wasn't the good stuff. And it's just sad that we don't pay attention. And I think it's just our conscience, and sometimes we just do and don't really pay attention. But you really have to be careful what we allow the kids to see, because they can see it. They really can see it. And we have to be careful of what we say, because we're thinking that, oh, I'm just doing this because of that. But what will the kids feel? What would they think that it is? So we really do have to just be careful. We have to be careful what we do, and we have to be careful what we say. We have to be careful who we allow around our kids, and just the things that we allow them to do. So I would always make sure, like I say, if you come into my house, there is no respect of person. When you come up in here, you're going to get the same treatment that my girls get. You're not going to get treated better because you are the stepchild. If one rule goes for my kids, that same rule will apply to you. If my kids can't do certain things up in my house, you're not going to do it either. That's just how we roll. If I get something for them, I'm going to get something for you. Excuse me, especially if I know when you're coming and it's your weekend. I'm going to make sure that we gonna all have a ball. I'm gonna have activities planned out for us. We'll get the matching pajamas and all of this kind of stuff. Like, we'll do that as a family unit. I wouldn't dare have us sitting around watching movies in matching pajamas, and then the stepchildren just sitting here looking like they're out of place. Like, where they do that at? So in this situation, I just feel like both parents were in the wrong, because there were so many opportunities for communication. And again, this is where communication comes in. The dad never should have just taken it upon himself to just say, hey, I'm gonna go get my son and bring him. Because I feel like had he had that conversation with the wife, then she could have said, well, we don't have matching pajamas for him, and we have this photo shoot getting ready to happen in 15 minutes. And did he get a haircut? Is his hair done? Like, making sure the optics was together. There's no way that, I feel like, those pieces of information would have been missed had there been proper communication. So the dad dropped the ball. In that instance, he dropped the ball for me, because you should have communicated that. And then, like I said, if the stepmother had already taken it upon herself to make sure she had a pair of matching pajamas for him, it would not have been a big deal for him to just randomly show up for the photo shoot. She would have already had PJs set aside for him. So hopefully that was a learning experience for all of them, with the dad making sure that he communicates properly. The stepmom going forward, make sure when you buy for one, you buy for the other, so that he'll have it when he gets there. And I don't know the role that the other mother, the baby mom, I don't know the role that she plays in the whole situation. But like I say, they said that there had been some beef for them, with them a few times a few years ago or what have you. But I'm not sure. Hopefully they came to a resolve, because as you can see, these are young children and these siblings have to grow up together. They're young. They still got a long time that they have to go to be in each other's presence. So hopefully, for the sake of the children, the parents can get along. Teresa said, I still think the wife could have picked the boy up some PJs. If I wait on my husband to get any of us matching PJs, we would look a mess. He would leave that to me. Listen, I am always the one, myself and my daughter, we're always the one that gets the matching pajamas. The men never do. They never do. So I agree. It was up to her to make sure the boy had matching pajamas. There's no way I would have allowed that. And, and I remember I was the one that used to tell my ex-husband to, go get your son, bring your son over. When the last time you talked to him? Go get him, bring him over for the weekend. It was always me pushing, for the other sibling to come, because if these kids are sibling, they should be able to grow up together. But when you have, like I say, when you have a bitter baby mama or a bitter baby daddy, that tends to draw a wedge, and it'll kind of make you, as a stepmom, not want to even have dealings with it, because you don't want to be involved in the drama. But what I will say, the drama is easily identified at the beginning of you getting in that relationship, because you can guarantee, if she's a bitter baby mama while you're in this relationship, she was before. So you should have made the decision to choose to not be a part of his life, as long as he and the baby mama was not on the same page. So I definitely would not have gone into a situation knowing that there was already beef between the two of them. But again, our goal is always resolve. Our goal is always conflict resolution, to make sure that, even though we have these situations and these different scenarios come up, we should all be able to always be able to look at, the role we played in it, and what can we do going forward. And I would have just had a conversation with the mom. I would not have went to social media about it. I would have went directly to the mom. And if I was the mom, I would have went directly to the wife, especially if they were married. I would have went directly to the wife. Now, if they were not married and she's just another baby mama, a live-in baby mama, I would have went directly to the dad and had a conversation. But I feel like that conversation should have been had at the beginning. Y'all sit down, have a conversation, and air out your expectations. That's what we as grown people do. We sit down and we air out our expectations, so that we'll know, this is what I expect as you being the stepmom of my kid. And the kind of mom I am, when I was sending my kids, they lacked nothing. The hair was already done. Don't touch my kids' hair. The hair was already done and in some cute little braids with the little beads before they got there. So there was no reason you had to do anything to their hair. Their outfits was there, already color coordinated. Everything was there. Their pajamas, everything. Everything was there. 9 times out of 10, you would have been having to coordinate with them, because they were already coordinated. I did not leave it up to his significant other to make sure my girls were straight and together when I was sending them. They had everything I could think of. Medicines they may have needed, anything that they needed was in their bags, packed to go when they left. Every single time, I did not send them empty handed, just expecting for him to have this already at his house. That's not how I did my kids, because I didn't play with mine. And you're not about to have my kids out here looking any kind of way, snotty nose, hair uncombed. You're not about to do that to mine. I had mine already together. Teresa said, folks today run straight to social media. I mean, sis said that. Folks today run straight to social media. Straight to social media. I was like, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. And I guess we probably would have too back in the day had we had social media. Cause baby, the way I was about to drag that one of my exes, you're not gonna play with mine. You can say, well, I was gonna say you can say what you want to say about me, but you can't even do too much of that. You can't even do too much of saying too much about me. But I'm coming for mine. I dropped the link if there's anybody want to come up. If you have experienced any step parenting situations that you would like to share on this topic. If you are a step parent, if you were a stepchild and had to experience something similar to this, feel free to come up and share your story. We are 58 minutes in. I am not going to hold you all long, but if you want to come in, please come. Teresa said, chit chat, they run as fast as they can. Right. Feel free to come up. Teresa, hit the link. Hit the link, Teresa. Come up here and share your step parenting stories, sis. Don't be scared. Hit the link. Feel free to hit the link, you all. Hit the link, hit the link. Come up and share a story. If not, that's okay. We're going to move. We're not going to be here long. We are not going to be here long. It is 7:34 Central Standard Time, my time. 7:34. I have a Teresa saying, hit no link. Hit the link.
Uh-oh.
Hit. Hey, sis.
Hey, sis, can you hear me okay?
I hear you. Um,
Okay, sorry about that. I had to mute my YouTube window. Hold on, sis.
and I
Okay.
don't know why our avatars are not showing. I'm sitting here
Well,
looking.
mine, hold on. Um, I clicked the oh. Sis, are you yours wasn't showing all this time?
Mine haven't been showing. It's been a black screen. I said that's what I said when I came on. I thought it was because I hadn't added myself to the stage, but I'm on the stage. It's just a black box.
Okay.
Um, yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
Well, let me just have you to go somewhere real quick. Let me go to my little test thing that I leave open. And then girl, you know Teresa ain't hitting no link. Did Teresa
Right.
hit it yet? Because I'm not even looking at the stream yards.
She talking about some.
Is
I
she up
I
here?
have a story to tell just from this last week. Teresa, hit the
You
link.
ain't about to do that.
Right. Babette
You
said, I
ain't
don't like
about to
talking about the
do
step lady
nothing.
my dad was
Um,
married to. I can only imagine, sis. Hey, Cece. Thanks for joining, sis. How you doing?
sis, sis, do me
Talking
a quick favor on your side tab where it says style.
about,
Do
uh-huh.
you see that?
Yeah.
And at the top for your presets,
Hmm.
click one of those. It should be a square box or a round one.
Okay.
And they still not showing our pictures.
Mm-mm.
Huh.
That's
Okay,
weird. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll
we'll
do it
do it
later.
off of this. Yeah, but I just wanted to come and give my thoughts on the whole step parent situation. I don't know if I told you a couple weeks ago, but my first husband had a daughter when we first got together. Loved her. She was about 2 at the time, and I had custody of my niece who was about 2 at the time, but she just turned 32 and celebrated her birthday here in Vegas a couple weeks ago. Reached out to me, so we're still close. You know what I'm saying? And I understood the assignment once I
Mm-hmm.
got with him and loved her like she was my child. So I do think that a lot of people go into situations with, I don't know, that ain't my child and all of that. And you shouldn't. And I'm just going to say this. I know you may disagree with me, sis. I'm down for a debate. But I think that stepmama did that on purpose. The more I think about it, the more
Mm-hmm.
that we're talking right now in this chat, and a lot of us as women know, if I'm going to pick out my kids' pajamas, and I know
Mm-hmm.
he got a kid that I've accepted, you do that automatically. I think she did it on purpose. I changed my mind. I think she did it on purpose.
You know what? She could have been, now that you brought it up, she actually could have done it on purpose again. Um, I don't know the history between her and the stepmom, but the mom did make a comment and said that, there were plenty of times where the other kid's mom has said F her children, but she still never treated her child different. That led me to think that, okay, there was some beef somewhere down the line between the two of you. So it could have been this my family, and if he gonna be here, we just gonna let him put on what she sent him, and I'm not going to do anything extra. So I do believe that it's a possibility that it was purposely done.
Right, right. Yeah, just the more that we talk it out, I still blame the dad, but I agree with Teresa. A lot of men, they don't even want to take the doggone Christmas pictures. Oh my goodness, we got to put on these pajamas again. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, especially when it comes to shopping for those pajamas, she knew what she was doing. And I wouldn't have cared. Let's say this. Let's say the little boy arrived to the house and oh shoot, we got these pictures scheduled.
Mhm.
Guess what? If I couldn't stop and buy all of us the same PJs, let's say went back to the store to try to find him the exact one. They didn't have it. Pick out a whole new set for everybody. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I don't know. I think it was on purpose. I do. And I think the mom peep game. And I didn't know too much about it. I remember the story around the holidays, but I didn't know that there was previous beef. And that explains a lot.
Mhm. Mhm. I agree. I would, like you said, it would have been an automatic for me.
Mhm.
If I'm going to buy mine some, like I was saying, at some point he's going to be at the house. Um, it was the holidays, so he had to come over and open his Christmas gifts. And even if he didn't, at some point you're going to rewear these pajamas. So why not have him some matching pajamas already there? Or even if I didn't just leave him at the house, I would have packed them up with the rest of his gifts and send them to him so he could open them. So
Mhm.
you still should have gotten or thought to get the
Yeah.
just in case, because even if it was he pulled them over on an off cycle schedule, you
Mhm.
still should have gotten him some.
Right.
That's just how I am. But again, everybody's mindset isn't our mindset. And the things that we would think to do, a lot of people would not do that because these girls didn't look like they were that old. And but there are women our age who still behave the same way. They don't like stepchildren because they don't like the mama.
Yeah.
And they don't like the fact that the daddy has outside children. They want to keep everything stuck to our household between
Right.
our four walls. This is my family. I don't want to think about the outside child. Why should I have to think about the outside child for our family photos? They're very selfish. And I don't think that you should date a guy with kids if that's your way of thought.
Right. And if that's your way of thought, then a week before, you and your family go take Christmas pictures. But when you had a baby there, everybody should be in uniform. You know what I mean? On one accord. And
Mhm.
I get what you're saying as far as a lot of people don't think like us. I get that part. But yeah, look, I wouldn't expect her when she's going shopping for school clothes for her kids to automatic, even though she should, in my opinion, pick up
Mhm.
something for the baby. And I'm not just saying she, I'm just saying she because most times the women are the ones that's doing the shopping. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all.
I don't either. I don't agree with her actions at all either. Like you say, I would have gotten some anyway just to get them. Um, but again, I don't see how you can proclaim to love the dad and mistreat the kid. There's no way. You can't make me think that you solely love this man and you're mistreating a part of him.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Girlfriend Chronicle said, they could have taken pics at another time if she was going to
Yes.
be evil. I totally agree. Teresa said a person with OCD wouldn't buy those pics and would dare anybody to post them.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Know
me.
how we are. For real. No.
Cece said, I think the blood parent has to step up for their child or children. Don't tolerate mistreatment. Absolutely. And I think
Mhm.
that's what the mom was doing. She did blast her and she did come out and call her out. Had it not been for the mom to actually speak out on it on social media, I don't think that there would have been this whole debacle about it all over social media. So it was because the mother did call the stepmom out, and
But
I
the
would have
other
been mad at the
blood parent should have too. The other blood parent, the daddy, a lot of these men want to act like they don't know what's going on and, oh, my wife would never do that. It's a lot of them that will. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he dropped the ball too. A lot of people was giving him a pass and
Mm-mm.
trying to make it seem like, men are just dumbfounded to the fact of the whole matching pajamas and he wasn't thinking when he went and got him at the last minute. Well, again, that's where communication came in at, because you knew that family portraits were playing. Because I can guarantee that wife has said at 12 o'clock, we're taking pictures. This is what we're wearing. This is where we're meeting. So he knew when he went and got the son. So I question his intent too, because what was the purpose? Like, men, if we're thinking about men like Martell, they very petty too. So did you do this on purpose to get at the biological mom, to make her purposely feel a certain kind of way, using the kid as your scapegoat? Because they will do that too. So I question his motive behind it too, because he knew something was already scheduled. So what made him change his mind at the last minute?
Mm.
So I kind of question too. That's why I say all of them were at fault.
Mm-hmm. Do you blame the birth mom? Well, I don't want to say birth mom like she's a adoptive parent. The biological mom, do you blame the mom for her reaction? Or do you understand?
No, I understood her reaction, because I would have been the same way if I'm looking at a photo floating around social media and
Mm-hmm.
y'all sitting up here looking like the Bobbsey twins and my baby looking like the outcast. Oh, I would have been pissed too.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
I would have been pissed too, because I would have immediately thought it was done on purpose. Because
Yeah.
I would have said, even if you could not afford to have bought pajamas for my kid, tell me that you're getting some. Send me the link and I'll purchase them.
Yeah.
If you know that you're purchasing matching pajamas. So I feel like, again, it could have been handled so many other different ways. I
Mm.
really just feel like it didn't have to get to this point. And I think, like you said, now that we're talking about it a little more, I think that the stepmom was being petty.
I do too. I really, really do.
I
It's
think she was being
Yeah,
petty.
because it's still not even a point of can't afford, even though I understand what you're saying. But if you can't afford, you can't afford for none. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You just don't do that. You don't do that at all. And look, I know this is
Yeah.
totally, totally wrong. But if you knew that baby wasn't dressed in the same pajamas, and I hate that I'm going to say this because I know it's wrong. Maybe you could have had him to stay on the side with grandmama or something like that, but don't make him look like the black sheep. And even sitting on the side is wrong. Don't take the pictures. Try again
Hmm.
next year.
And that's exactly what I would have done. I would not have allowed him to take the picture. The mama probably would have still been mad about that, because she would have known that the kid was there, why he didn't get in the picture. But I would have rather had him not be in the photo than to be looking like he's a total outcast, like
Right.
he does in these photos. So I would have just told, you know, him to sit over here on this side and not take the picture.
Yeah.
And I'm so surprised, but her explanation for that was, well, I didn't want him to feel left out. So that's why I included him in the photo shoot.
Hmm.
So I can sense not wanting to feel him left out, but at this point, you're not about to get in this picture being mismatched either.
Right. Right.
So either reschedule and
Yep.
get him some pajamas, or reschedule and come back when he's not there if you don't want him to feel left out.
That's right.
Because I'm questioning now that we're talking, why was there not a family photo shoot planned with him in mind already
That's
anyway?
what that was my whole point from the beginning.
You
She
should have already planned it with him to be involved.
And like you said, you know that she's the one that made the appointment for the photographer and all of that. And hey, I gotta get the baby, whatever his name was, his as well. I think this was done on purpose all the way
Yeah.
around. And I think that the only reason why she reached out to the mom after the fact is because it went viral. You know what I'm saying? She probably
Mhm.
didn't think that me posting this on social media, and she probably posted it initially to get a rise out of the mom, but it went viral. So everybody was down her
Mhm.
throat. And I hate that we keep putting the focus on her because the dad absolutely is top of the list, but women most times do the shopping and organizing and all of that. So yeah, I'm not buying it. Right,
And
Michelle?
I would have, and even if it had been a situation to where the pajamas didn't match, I would have went out and found something to coordinate him with his daddy that still would have coordinated with what we currently had, but I would have made sure he matched. Like maybe go get both him and the daddy a pair of khaki pajamas with the shirt
Mhm.
with some green in it to kind of pull out what we had. So I would have done that to make it seem like, okay, I see what she's doing. She
Yeah.
kind of rearranged it and he's coordinated with his dad, but they still match everybody else outside
Yeah.
of just having him be the only one in black. So there
Mhm.
were other ways, even though she could not have located the exact coordinating pajamas they had, you could have went and got some basic ones and pulled out some
Absolutely.
colors and let him match his dad. So
That's
it was
right.
ways that she could have tried to rectify it.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't have cared if you had to go get red t-shirts and non-Christmas pajamas. Everybody got on them same little shirts, same colors, other pajama pants, whatever means or additional means that she should have taken, she should have done that. She should have
Mhm.
done that.
I agree. Or she could have just let one of the other little boys take off one of their shirts, put on a different shirt, and put just switch the bottoms up. It's so many ways you could have gotten creative with that. I've
Yeah.
looked at that picture over and over again. There's so many ways you could have gotten creative to made it look like it was cohesive, outside of just making him look like he was a misfit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He
Teresa
looked
said that men could care less about matching pajamas or a photo shoot, but
yeah.
us women love that stuff. Girl, yeah, it be me. And my
Mhm.
husband just show up. I'll be like, here, this is what we wear. He be like,
Exactly. And
huh.
right. And when I was married and I bought it while I'm out shopping, oh, let me go ahead and get these pajamas. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's unfortunate. It really is.
It is. Girlfriend Chronicle says, right, or have him and the dad do separate pics. Yep, she could have.
Good
I wouldn't
point.
trust my child with her. I wouldn't either. Well, listen, I don't trust mine around a lot of people. Um, so it's not a lot of women I would that he's dated that I would trust mine around. So um I pray for Mel daily, and I'm sure she keep
Oh,
her babies prayed up and
mm, 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 mm.
head oil with some holy oil and
That's
everything
it.
else when they're leaving and coming back from being in close proximity to their
Mm.
dad and his bird, because the energy over there is unmatched. I can only imagine.
Could you imagine all the things that she said and continue to say? Could you imagine?
I just couldn't.
Wow.
And because I've experienced having one that would do little slick stuff behind my ex's back to my kids. I could only imagine the stuff
Girl,
she be doing.
girl. Mm,
I
mm, mm.
could only imagine the little slick stuff she be trying to say in front of them, which proves why she tried to post that little video of Lil Knox trying to bow up at Sugar Mama that
Exactly.
time. So
Hmm.
she purposely did it because that's how she felt. So
Yeah.
that's why she felt so comfortable posting that little snippet of that video. But I could only imagine the stuff that she's saying, the hatred that she has for him, basically making her come over there and fix his kids'
Mhm.
breakfast, and she having to get up out of her bed and she coming over there to do that for kids that's not hers. I could only imagine the hatred that she holds for these kids because she knows they have something her son will never have. They
Yeah.
have a lifestyle that her kid would never get to experience. So
Envy
I
and
understand.
jealousy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And even Arion's daughter feels it. You know what I mean? Knox is a
Hmm.
little too young. But Paris, those kids coming over there fresh, that's if Mill
Hmm.
lets them take any of their things over there, but well mannered, articulate, and this or that. And I think that's why Coleslaw say so much. My daughter's a eight honor roll student and this and that, because
Hmm.
she know about them hope babies. So, girl, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I
And
couldn't do it
they
either.
have
And you know they have their
so
phones.
this.
And
Huh?
they have their, I said, you know, they have their phones and showing
Yes,
we got this and we got that. And we went here, we were in LA, and my
yes,
mom was on her TikTok live. So,
yes.
they are, just in general conversation because kids talk. Kids don't know, like,
Exactly.
well, don't say that around her because that'll make her feel a certain kind of way. Because
Mhm.
I was hearing in one of those Facebook groups that Coleslaw did make a comment saying that Paris was intimidated by Mariah.
Yeah.
Um, so I can see because she's intimidated by Mel and she's put that same
In her
thought
daughter.
process into her daughter. So of course she will feel that way
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
they have what they she knows she'll never be able to provide for them. So she
Mhm.
feels that way. But I just wouldn't I wish there were some type of stipulations that the courts could have put in place, given that this is the person that helped you break up your marriage and
Yeah.
you have an outside kid with. Like, don't I just wish the mediator would have been able to say, like, I don't think it's a good idea for you to have them around her,
Mhm.
just yet. Let them get a little older, let the divorce, get a little older because right now it's super fresh.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sure he had them kids over there since the first week he started getting them after the
Yeah.
divorce.
Oh yeah. Remember he introduced the kids to Knox against Mel's wishes. Mel wanted to
Mhm.
make sure they did it with a counselor and, have the discussion first. And he just said, F it. And when he did, remember that post he put up, which
Mhm.
was first day of school, but he had Knox in there, in the description or whatever. So Martell is, gosh, I've never seen somebody this low. He is devious and as low as you can go, still today. But
He
yeah,
is. He
and what
hates
tripped me
her.
out is this, he would have a fit if Mel had a man, boyfriend publicly around his kids.
Girl, listen. Every night, especially on the weeks that I had the kids, I'll be
Mm,
posting a hand in the video. The
exactly.
next week, it'll be a leg
I
hanging out from under the
know
cover, and he'll be thinking the man at the house with me and the kids.
that. Facts.
Girl, you think he crazy. My get back would have him going crazy.
Yes, for
There
real.
is no way, and we, like you say, we already know he'll go back shit crazy when he realizes that she has a man and they actually are around. He's actually around the kids. That would drive him crazy. But I would have been drove him crazy because he's done too much. Like you say, he's one of the most devious men that I've ever seen. You're bitter because you cheated and had a kid and this lady
Exactly.
moved on. Like, you're the bitter baby mama.
Right. Where they do that at? You know what
Like,
I
why
mean?
you mad? She just stepped out of the way and allowed you to have what you wanted to have all of these years throughout the marriage. So she walked
Yes.
away, she gave it to you, and you still ain't satisfied.
Yes. Yes.
But he would have been satisfied if she had a failed. But because she's
Oh,
been
yes, ma'am.
more successful since walking away from him, that's where the problem lies. And he and Coleslaw are still on their struggle love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. I don't know. Looking at him from this past Saturday, my goodness. And like I said, all of us know Martell is cray cray. We've been knowing that. That was a different level of uh, you know, can't comprehend it. He really believes that what he did wasn't a, I don't even want to use Carlos words, bad, illegal, and he was really sitting there, well, how is it bad? Something is not right with Martell. Something is not
I
right.
do think something is not right. And like you say, I think he felt like it wasn't illegal because he didn't actually send the video and he sent a screenshot.
Yeah.
In his little mind, that wasn't illegal, but you still was threatening it. This is what it
Yeah.
was. You were threatening it. So what was the purpose of you sending her a picture of that when you telling her to stop bullying me? So what was the point of sending her this picture?
Right.
Basically, you were saying you were going to release it. And then actually sitting here and hearing that everybody actually saw the video. They saw the video. They didn't see a screenshot. They saw the video.
They saw the video. But even the screenshot was explicit. So that's still on the same lines of video picture. You know what I mean? That's
Exactly.
why he was, I don't care if he pled, you had to plead either innocent or guilty. And but just seeing him on the reunion stage, That lets me know his plan for his appeal. It's not bad. I only sent it to her. So let him take his dumb arse on in there. And I just hope that Mel can get full custody of them kids. Freedom. You know what I mean? Oh my goodness. Girl,
But I'm just the attorney that he's using has to be
just to,
basically just trying to get his money because I'm sure he already knows like this isn't going to fly in court. But to actually sit, I was cringing to actually sit
Mhm.
and listen to them talking about it on the reunion. And they was
Oh
like,
my
we
God.
all seen it. We all seen it. Like
Mhm.
you showing a picture of your ex-wife in a compromising position like that, one of the most intimate moments that a husband and a wife can share, and you just out here willy-nilly showing it to all of these people.
Mhm.
Like, we already feel a kind of way about our bodies and
Yes.
in the different,
Yes.
how we carry ourselves. And then you shown this and you've allowed these people to sit around here. Now just imagine the men he showed it to and the conversations they've
Right.
had behind
Right.
the scenes
Yep.
talking about, that is a violation
He's
to the
sick.
10th power.
Yeah, he's sick. And to not even realize, because you could just tell the way that Martell moves and talk and all of that, to not even realize that you're gonna have this discussion about this with your kids in a couple years. You're gonna they gonna find out. They're gonna be young adults, 16, 17, 18, whatever age. And it's just wow. It's crazy.
And
It's
he will
crazy.
be honest. He'll be just like he was on that
Oh,
stage,
for
which is
sure.
why he took it upon himself to introduce the kids to Knox on his terms when he did it because he was not truthful. He didn't want Mel to be there to hear him not tell the truth about how he came about and all of this kind of stuff. I'm quite sure he blamed it on Mel some kind of way, but we know he didn't take accountability for it, which is why he didn't take accountability sitting on that stage. Still to this day, you would have thought. So this just proved to me is you haven't grown, you haven't gotten help, you're
Oh,
still in the same spot, if not worse,
the
than
word.
you were when this whole divorce started. You have not sought the help that you should have sought when you had the opportunity. And at this point, you're too far gone to sit in here and think that you didn't do anything bad. Like there
Yeah.
was absolutely nothing wrong with what you did.
Yeah,
And the fact that Carlos King actually sat there and tried to handle him with like he was a
it
little baby,
was.
like
Yeah.
walking you through baby steps to get the truth out of you. Martell, that was bad. No, Martell, that was deplorable and illegal.
Thank you. Thank you. Don't
I'm
sugarcoat it.
talking him like it is. That's the thing. Too many people around him has been shielding and covering him and just walking with him with baby steps. And this is why he doesn't see that what he's done is wrong. And this
Right.
is why he's so surprised that they're coming at him now because they didn't when he first showed it to him.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now he looking at him like, well, what? What did I do wrong? Because
Right.
y'all was
It's
saying
some
that in the
truth.
beginning.
Right. Y'all fell for my shit all this time. You know what I mean? But he's slowly getting them back on track. Well, he got Destiny. He got Neil and Chris Fletcher now. Um, you know, but I've never seen anything like this, especially on reality TV. And for him to remain to have a spot and a place, even a video that OWN put up on YouTube yesterday, and they said something about BS, Martell and his BS. Well, guess what? You guys employ him. You guys employ him. I hope Mel is suing. I hope her attorneys are on it because everybody that is ABUs. That's
Mm-hmm.
ABUs.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to everybody that all of a sudden admitted that they synced it in my Moses voice, yeah, you getting a subpoena as well. I'm gonna let them know I ain't playing with you.
I agree. And I believe, and just like I keep going back to the part where he said when Carlos was asking him questions and he was like, well, you already know what it is. You was there. I'm so believing that Carlos was there that first day of filming this last season when he was turning himself in. I believe Carlos was there. And
Come
this is why
on.
Martell is like, well, you was there. You already know what it is. But the fact that and I believe they talked him into appealing it again, like you said, so that he
In
could
order
return to this
for you
show
to
and he could
heal.
stay employed. So they
Yeah,
could say, well, he hasn't actually been convicted. He's appealing the
right.
conviction and making it seem like, well, he's innocent until proven guilty because he is appealing it. Because what person that actually committed a crime will actually go try to appeal the
Mm-hmm.
conviction if they were not innocent? So I believe that Carlos talked him into, well, just appeal it. Because what person in their right mind don't see something wrong with that?
Where they do that at? Where they do that at? The day that they started filming, and I broke that story on YouTube, breaking news, and
Mm-hmm.
that was the day that they started filming when Martell turned
Yep.
himself in. He tried to act like he was going up there for something else. That was a lie. So yeah, I think that Carlos and everybody else on the production team told him to wait until we start filming. And
Mm-hmm.
because they have been looking for him. Well, not looking for him, but it's like when we catch you, we catch you. But Mel said it had been months, months. So all of this was calculated. That's why I can't stand Carlos, because he want to sit there with that smug look on his face like he just lost. Carlos is a mastermind behind the scene,
The
and he
same way
wrote
he
it
did with Destiny on this
exactly,
bathroom. I'm
exactly.
sitting there like, you looking at Sonny with all this darn Negro. You told her
Wow.
to come to the show
He didn't do that at the podcast, did he? He didn't
at
look at me
all.
like that then, but he didn't use the up, and he don't need her no more.
I was in there. That's why they all be looking delusional on this stage, because he'll bring them on. Then you act like all y'all act like y'all dumbfounded to what's going on.
Man, look, he would have been fired me because I would have cussed his ass out
Listen,
right there on his stage, baby. Yeah,
look, him and that little Marcus Burns with his
for
loose lip
real.
ass.
Yes, yes. It's
Oh
crazy.
my gosh. Girl, a whole mess, a whole mess.
Hmm.
But thank you, sis, for coming up and
You're
joining me on
welcome.
the panel and engaging in this conversation. We are an hour and 30 minutes in.
You're
Girlfriend
welcome.
Chronicles say, okay, chit chat, right.
All right, sis, I'm gonna drop down. Teresa, next time if you don't click this link, we through with you. That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna
Exactly. You better
mm,
click the link. Thank you, sis, for coming up. Thank you, thank
okay,
you, thank you. I appreciate you.
I'll get out
Y'all,
of here.
I hope you have enjoyed the topic, talking about the whole matching pajamas, talking about step parents. If you or anyone that have been in or experienced a step parenting situation like this, feel free to drop down and leave a comment. Shout out to the replay gang that'll be tuning in after this live is over. Make sure you drop down and leave a comment. We would love to hear what you have to say. Make sure you turn your bell notifications on so that you'll be notified each and every time we drop a new topic. And we are out of here. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate you all for jumping in and rocking with me. I appreciate my co-host for coming up and engaging in the topic with me. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you so much for being here. To Teresa, to sis Chit Chat, thank you so much for modding for me. I appreciate you. To Babette, thanks for joining. Girlfriend Chronicles, thanks for joining. I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate y'all for pulling up to the table. Let me pull up to make sure. Nashonda, thank you, sis, for pulling up. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, CC, for stopping in, sis. I appreciate you for being here. LaDawn, thank you for stopping in, sis. I appreciate you for showing up for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me scroll up. Betty was here. Thanks, sis, for pulling up to the table. I appreciate you. Deborah Jackson was here. Thank you for joining. Girlfriend Chronicles was in the house. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you for being here. CC was here. Thanks, sis, for joining. I appreciate you for joining me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am scrolling. Let's Be Clear was here. Thank you so much, sis, for joining. This concludes this topic of Pink Table Topic, and we will chat with you soon. Have a good night, everyone.